What do you think Jesus would say to Justin?
I think he would say to him that he loves him, but like he thinks that he should be like maybe more godly, like because lately he hasn't been like the best role model, and since he's a Christian and he says that he needs to act like it too.
This whole transition to a new level is that I went through an uncomfortable phase.
There was a time where I was sipping lean, I was popping pills, I was doing Molly, shrooms, everything.
What it is, ho, what's up?
Justin Bieber has had a pretty interesting life, being plucked from the indigents of Canada to become one of the biggest pop stars in the world. What looked like a dream come true became a sorry fate where Justin is now trying to recapture himself, finding happiness, but most importantly, recapturing his faith. Justin Bieber's Purpose era was really a trailblazer for his resurgence back into the spotlight as a more mature artist. He dove into that album to 1. Show his fans his love for music, 2. Express himself as a new person, and 3. Clean up his bad boy image. Justin being a young kid just trying to make it, I don't think he ever expected that he'd fall victim to certain situations. His version of hitting puberty and going through life experiences, being a multi-millionaire superstar, is common. Justin is no different than a lot of stars being fed the fast life, feeling like you're on top of the world with no consequences. Until one day, you realize that what you went through wasn't the norm. And that day you realize that you have a purpose, but your purpose is being controlled by the people around you who also have a purpose for you. This is a longevity video on Justin Bieber, the pursuit of happiness.
With all the success that we've had, we've also had some really turbulent times. When he turned 18, it started bubbling a little bit. 19 to, what was it, 21? That was probably that dark period.
We didn't speak a lot during some of the times where he was running amok. There were a few times where I saw him and it just kind of hurt my heart, seeing him the way he was, So I think I just kind of put a little distance with that for my own sake. It would just go without saying that my position on maybe the path he was going down, but at the same time, just letting him live his life and learn and, I don't know, just do his thing.
Justin's history of drug use is one of many tales in Hollywood, feeling like you have everything but nothing at the same time. That illusion can be pretty daunting because people's perception of happiness doesn't allow others to feel like they shouldn't be grateful for the position that they are in. I'm sure that's how Justin felt, being a multi-millionaire living the dream life of a pop star. You should thank God for being able to live your dream. Then there's another side that feels happy, but it's at a baseline level. It still feels obsolete, so you begin to mask those feelings with substances that feels like the missing piece to your puzzle.
Guilty on Wednesday.
I started valuing the wrong things in this business because there was things dangling in front of me. If I get this, I'll be happy. If I do this, I'll be happy.
He's gone through a lot in a very short life. You don't always agree with someone's decisions in that moment. There are young people making very big decisions that affect a lot of people. And sometimes in those scenarios, you're gonna make the right decision. Sometimes you're gonna make.
This piece allows for inauthenticity. People can sense when you're not truly being yourself or whatever phase that you're going through. Justin admitted that there are people in the industry who prey on others' insecurities, and that would make him angry, and eventually it made him angry with himself. If you weren't living under a rock around 2013, 2014, you saw the whirlwind of media coverage that surrounded Justin Bieber and his bad boy phase, or what others would call his Bugatti Bieber phase. He was kind of fine in this era. That transition from coconut head to light-skinned Justin Bieber was a complete 360 for Justin's image because it showed that he was really growing up. He was growing into himself and moved like any young dummy with money. You saw it with his style evolution and his choice to accessorize with chains and the sudden surge of tattoos. Justin was really wilding around this time. He was growing out of his teenage boy next door phase and was growing into himself. It started with his Believe era. Justin has always had good eras since he came on the scene, so this is not surprising. But with his Believe era, we saw that his Adam's apple started growing. He was experimenting with rap singing, and you saw that with his single Boyfriend.
So falsetto in 3, 2, sway.
If I was your boyfriend, never let you go.
This album went number 1 and had other chart-topping singles like Long As You Love Me and Beauty and the Beat.
Is a beauty
A lot of people associate light-skinned Justin Bieber with his association to Lil Twist. Justin and Lil Twist were friends during Justin's first ever hit, so their friendship wasn't anything new, but a lot of people started blaming Young Money member Lil Twist for Justin's public outbursts. Justin's public image did start taking a hit because he was acting out, but he wasn't doing anything abnormal from what a lot of people his age were doing. But since he always had a spotlight on him, it just looked really bad for his career.
I'm growing up, I'm becoming a man, I'm maturing, my fans are growing with me.
But it was not always so easy. There were the tantrums, the scuffles with paparazzi, the traffic stops. But even as late as 2012, he sounded like he was a young man with a lot of control.
You got to be responsible, and as far as alcohol, you just have to be responsible. Don't drink and drive and excessively. I think you just have to be responsible.
Then things started getting weird. It was just months ago that Bieber reportedly fired most of his team, including crisis manager Wendy Feldman.
Several months ago, Justin Bieber sort of made a switch in his team and those people who were closest around him, the experts who advised him. And you can tell when he made that switch because that's when things started to go downhill really, really quickly.
The photo ops stopped being so positive. Justin Bieber urinating into a bucket, Justin Bieber leaving a notorious brothel in Rio de Janeiro, Justin Bieber painting graffiti on the side of a building.
I don't think that many 19-year-olds go through this sort of explosion of bad behavior, but you have a kid who grew up without two parents, who grew up really quickly, and who has $1 billion.
And just this month, he was accused of egging this house, causing $20,000 in damage. Bieber denied the incident, but it has some
exclusive access to multiple cameras inside and outside South Point nightclub earlier this week. Crazy. Around 3:21 on Sunday morning, Justin and his entourage left the Southampton, New York hotspot. In the parking lot, the 19-year-old singer got into a verbal spat with this clubgoer. JB had to be pushed back by a buddy before climbing on top of his ride and making a run at the dude, who allegedly got dumped by Bieber's beefy security guy.
Bieber, as his devoted fans, have become accustomed to seeing him, starring in another spectacle. This time, clambering atop his SUV, saluting the crowd after his arrest overnight for a DUI, and being ordered back into the car by corrections officers. Much earlier in the morning, authorities were pulling him out of a car. Miami Beach police say they spotted this rented yellow Lamborghini and a red Ferrari drag racing. Police say not only were Bieber and his friend in the red Ferrari drag racing down this street, but they had their entourage behind them in SUVs, blocking traffic so others wouldn't interfere. Cruisers finally caught up to the muscle cars.
When he opened up the window and confronted Mr. Bieber, he smelled a strong odor of alcoholic beverage.
Police told ABC News Bieber hurled insults at the arresting officers. After spending the evening skateboarding, the Bieber even Instagrammed this image of himself and then partying at the exclusive club mansion and then allegedly drag racing. He spent the next 6 hours sobering up here at the Miami Beach police station.
Mr. Bieber made statements that he had consumed some alcohol and that he had been smoking marijuana and consumed some prescription medication.
ABC News has learned his blood alcohol level was 0.04, well below the legal limit, but since Bieber's under 21, still considered a DUI. He faces 3 charges: driving under the influence, resisting arrest without violence, and driving with an expired license. And that triumphant, grinning mugshot, so different from the more pensive Bieber in that bond hearing today.
When photos of him smoking weed first leaked, the media went ballistic. An online campaign named 4chan even created a hashtag called Cut for Bieber that encouraged his fans to start cutting themselves to convince Justin to stop smoking weed. Later coming out as a hoax, but it created a whole Twitter frenzy, causing Twitter to reach out to fans to make sure some of the users were okay. Justin's friends Lil Twist and Lil Za was inseparable trio at one point, with Twist and Za both living in Justin's LA mansion and driving his cars. But their get-togethers led to many run-ins with the police, with Justin getting arrested for a DUI and the police raiding his home. Alongside that, he was acting like a pissant to the public. He was urinating in public areas, getting into fistfights, and having really loud parties. Like I stated, a lot of people were blaming the people in his life. When Justin took this picture on the red carpet, his fans went into an uproar because they believed those guys were a bad influence on Justin's life. Justin immediately clapped back and asked the fan why does he think that they are a bad influence. Because they're black? He ain't say it like that, but you get it, and he told his fans not to be so judgmental. What most people don't realize is that Justin didn't have a childhood.
I'll play with it tomorrow on set. He thinks it'll distract me from set. He also said I couldn't hang out with Jamie. You said you didn't want me hanging out with them because they'll distract me from my work and I won't do any work.
When did I say that?
You said that the other day.
To you?
Yes, to Jamie and our attorney.
Oh, I said it to Wilson?
Yeah.
That was messing with Wilson.
Anyway.
I also told Wilson that he was a body diva.
Anyways, I'm not going to even use it at the airport. I just want it for...
No, he already lost. No more say no.
I just want to... I'm not even going to use it at the airport. He's just being a jerk.
Get that on camera. Call it jerk.
Why is he letting me use it then? Buy it. What are you worried about? No, just tell me what you're worried about.
You almost ran into somebody's face already.
I'm not going to use that at the airport.
You're not going to come into it. You're not kidding.
No, but just give me a reason. Give me a reason.
When? You'll run it, you'll break it into somebody's face.
When?
Whenever you have a chance. There'll be
Yeah,
people around
and
and you'll put it
I
out.
bought upgrades. Basically, they were like,
Yo, why are they... What are they... No, just tell me why.
I'm tired of talking.
No, seriously. Why? You're not even giving me an answer. You're just saying... Because I'll fly it in someone's
My
face?
answer already talked about it anymore. We're done with the conversation.
I can't... But you didn't give me a reason why.
Okay.
Mom. There's no reason. Said that if I get it, I have to ask you whenever before I use it.
So I think he gravitated to what he felt was comfortable for him. He was famous at 13 and hasn't been able to really be a kid. He was constantly surrounded by adults, so when the time came, when he was growing up, growing into himself, he found people that let him be him, even if that phase wasn't the most positive. During the drug raid, police found a significant amount of weed in his house. In order to protect Justin's career, Scooter Braun, Justin's manager, and Justin's team asked Lil Twist if he would show how much he really loves Justin by taking the charges for him. They said that since he's associated to Lil Wayne and is a rapper, it wouldn't be that bad for him to take the fall. For Justin's album that wasn't an album but was actually an album, Journals, it is considered his top 3 in the magnum opus. It's an R&B album that was overshadowed by his media coverage. Plus, the label wasn't really favorable of the sound, so they dropped the album with little promotion. His label wanted to keep him in the pop lane and just didn't like the R&B tones mixed with the trap elements. You hear it in the song with Future called What's Hattin'. But his most popular singles was Heartbreaker and All That Matters. Justin has admitted that this was an experimental phase in his life where his ego got the best of him, and he's happy that he made it out alive. He was doing some pretty heavy-hitting drugs and continued to feel unfulfilled even though he presumably had everything to the public. Regardless of what the media wants to believe, his influences weren't the reason why he felt like an empty vessel. Not many people want to acknowledge how young Justin was when he became a star. If Justin was a little girl, it'd be easier to understand the frustration from being overworked and around too many adults and not having a proper childhood. Justin didn't have his mom around all the time. When Justin signed to Usher and Scooter, Justin became Usher's little protege. Usher basically knew the ropes of what happens in the industry because he went through the same thing Justin did, if not worse. The 90s was a crazy time. Usher's mom allowed Usher to live with Diddy in the 90s to establish his career, meaning there's a strong possibility that Usher was exposed to a lot of mature things no 14-year-old should be around. Usher was the one pushing more to be in the studio as a child. He wasn't worried about the extracurriculars that was happening around him.
Moved to New York City. and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea.
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 in the morning with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Oh, no.
See? Usher look like he fresh off got Usher. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, but like, check this out. I mean, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And what the did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this but me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes. Stupid. Listen, having a good time, yo. Your Usher made it in the... Hey, yo.
Puffy would say, man, you gotta chill. Like, you just a little bit too intense. You know, you gotta relax. Like, yo, man, I'm here to work, man. I ain't sang in a week. I mean, I'm 13 years old, like banging on this man as though, I am the manager. I am the spokesperson for Usher. And I'm telling him, look, you're gonna put me in the studio, man. You got Biggie Smalls in there. You got Craig Mack in there. You're gonna make me a priority too. I'm not here to party with you. I don't wanna go to the clubs. Matter of fact, I'm too young to even be in here. Why you got me in clubs? I think as a kid, I realized, hey, look, that's not my ring. That's not my moment. That's not my bottle. That's not my drink. That's not my celebration. So I'm not here to celebrate. I wanted people to be excited about me the way that they were excited about him. I wanted my own success.
Usher may have turned out fine, but he still left Justin with Diddy, who has a history of shadiness.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher. I'm signed to Usher. I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
Everything's good. Selling out arenas and everything. Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Correct. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
It's 555.
Yes. Okay.
5555.
Okay. 55. You heard that?
Aside from that, there has been moments where Justin was publicly SA'd by grown women and everyone just laughs. 1, because Justin's a boy, and 2, because he laughed it off himself, but it is very uncomfortable to be put in that situation for the world to see.
I feel violated right now. I just got to neck Justin Bieber and grab his butt. I thought a little cougar scary. Yeah. But I took the opportunity in the window, considering I'll never get to do it again, and kind of molested him.
Well, available.
Can you imagine how hilarious that would be? That would be the cougar score of the century. Jenny McCarthy dates Justin Bieber.
Would you?
I want some Bieber fever, and I want a Bieber rash. I want it all. It'd be like cougar rape.
So why don't you give me the sex talk?
I feel uncomfortable right now.
Oh.
Why do you want to know the sex talk from a 15-year-old boy? That's pretty weird.
Who asks a 15-year-old for the sex talk? That's just weird. Don't be weird, guys. Justin's coping mechanisms unfortunately also involve Selena. Their public on and off relationship spanning 8 years was a doozy. They were the kids' bop version of Rihanna and Chris Brown, except theirs involved more drugs. Their relationship played a significant role in both their careers. Disney switched from Hannah Montana to Hannah Montana Forever, a catastrophe, making her lose a spot as the princess of Disney. Wizards of Waverly Place was a very popular show on Disney, making Selena an instant star. Slowly creeping in as a Disney princess, Selena Gomez was actually an it girl on Disney, and she didn't start with the bubblegum PG Disney girl sound. She didn't have to do much to break away from the Disney image. Since she started working on music with the scene, they didn't make music for 10-year-olds, so she was charting and Disney was playing her videos on the network. Her first album with the scene was Kiss and Tell. It debuted in the top 10 and had a few hits on there. If you watch her version of the Cinderella story, her song Tell Me was featured on the album, and the movie helped promote her album.
I'm never gonna amount to much, but they're never gonna change my mind. Oh, tell me something I don't know.
She also had Naturally and Falling Down. Over the years, her show and music began to really grow in popularity. She had a lot of chart-topping singles with the scene, including Round and Round, Love You Like a Love Song, and Who Says. Around this time, Justin was discovered and he quickly rose into the #1 pop star. His album My World did pretty well. His singles One Time and Love Me had them girls damn near breaking their neck trying to find out who is Justin Bieber. Justin was automatically placed on every talk show and stage to promote the album. He even performed at the White House for the Obamas. The next year would be the defining moment that really made Justin Bieber, his sequel album My World 2.0. I don't even think I have to explain how big this song was. Baby became the most popular song of that year. It debuted at #1 on Billboard 200, making Justin the youngest solo male act to top the chart since Stevie Wonder in 1963. But we can also thank the internet. YouTube was really coming into its own and becoming really popular with parody songs. And social media platforms started looking at Justin as a trendsetter. People copied his style to his hairstyle. He single-handedly was responsible for the mass surge of the coconut head, while also being the most hated pop star on the internet. People hated him because they didn't understand why he was so popular. They even started a petition to have his video for Baby be the most disliked video on YouTube. Also being the reason why it's the most watched video on YouTube. They always say, if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. A lot of the boys copied Justin's style because the girls liked Justin, but they also hated him at the same time because they had to do that. Like, people hated Justin, but no one really hated him, which made his popularity even better because we know he's not doing anything but dominating the charts. But of course, along the way, with a few good songs, you ended up liking him. And since people just were dressing like him, it just became the trend. Like, the hate began to subside on its own. His association and collaborations was really a benefiting factor to Justin's success. Usher was definitely a mentor and helped teach Justin the ropes of being an artist. Usher is a superstar and was developed amazingly as a triple threat artist. Justin, eager to make it big, followed in his footsteps. Choreo makes a huge difference as an artist, and that very much helped him become so big. When he had them little girls eager to go to his concert, they got their money's worth. Starting that way allowed him to develop a die-hard fan base. Record labels were on a mission and were doing their best to pump out Justin Bieber copycats like Austin Mahone and Cody Simpson. He released Never Say Never with Jaden Smith and Somebody to Love with Usher. In 2011, he released a Christmas album and collaborated with the Queen of Christmas herself, Mariah Carey, on the song that goes #1 every year, their duet for the version of All I Want for Christmas, and he had his own Christmas hit with Mistletoe. To sum it up, we haven't seen a pop boy star like Justin since like Jesse McCartney, and he wasn't half as big as Justin. We love Jesse, by the way. If you were born in 2000, that was our Justin Bieber. He was huge in 2011. Forbes named him the richest celebrity, earning over $50 million that year alone. So when he paired with Selena, that was a huge deal. When her and Justin got together, she was 18 and he was 16, and you could tell this was young love to the T. They moved in with each other and they were obsessed with one another. It just wasn't the healthiest relationship, with a lot of makeups and breakups. Around that time, Justin was falling off the rails in the media. He admitted that years later, he was taking a lot of drugs and experimenting. Him and Selena were on and off, but there's no telling that they didn't experiment together. Selena was diagnosed with lupus, but a lot of people speculate that her rehab stints were from drug addiction also. They had a really rocky relationship, and by 2013, they took a split, and that's when you have the Justin media antics and Selena checking into rehab. For the next few years, they moved on and began living separate lives, starting to see new people, with Justin becoming close with Hailey. But he was still trying to redeem himself, so he entered his redemption era for his purpose era. This was very much a comeback era, and he came back so hard. There was a sense of vulnerability for this album. It's what a lot of his fans consider his best album also. What Do You Mean, Love Yourself, Sorry, and Where Are You Now were massively successful. It was like the resurgence of Justin Bieber mixed with maturity.
What do you mean? Hey, where are you now that I need you that much? Oh baby, you should go and love yourself. Is it too late now to say sorry?
Debuting at #1 on Billboard and selling 640,000 copies its first week. Justin Bieber has had a lot of peaks, but this was the top of the mountain for sure. He did use remnants of him and Selena's relationship to bring buzz to the album. After Purpose, Justin and Selena went back into their on and off again ways. It was rumored that Justin proposed to Selena on multiple occasions and she said no. In 2017, Justin was canceling a lot of his tour dates. He was going through a lot and trying to change and become a better person while dealing with the effects of his body declining. Justin had found out he was battling multiple diseases. He had to take a break and focus on himself, and Hailey was by his side during this period. Hailey actually deals with a lot of hate by being with Justin from Selena and Justin's fans that refuse to let go of their past relationship. Hailey was there for him in his most vulnerable moments. There was rumors that came out about Justin only marrying Hailey for a visa, but even if he did, it's like, so don't y'all want him here? Either way, he was trying his best to rebuild his faith in Jesus and focus on trying to be happy again, and he did it the best way he knew how. He saw the people around him who he presumed was doing good and took a leap of faith towards possible happiness with Hailey.
Do you think the person that you of then was on a path of self-destruction?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure. 100%. Yeah. I don't know if I'd be alive, for sure. It was dark. So I'm very, very grateful to have influences in my life that have played a huge part in me seeing their relationship with Jesus and their relationship with their wives and their relationship with their kids and saying that's what I want and striving after that.
He assumed that marriage was going to fix his issues, and that was far from the truth.
His mental health and the impact it's had on his 3-year marriage to model Hailey Bieber.
It's a journey, and I remember when I first got married, I hit a little bit of an emotional breakdown because I thought marriage was going to fix all my problems, and it didn't.
Bieber getting candid with Apple Music's Ebro Darden about the emotional baggage he brought into the relationship and how it took a toll.
It's hard sometimes to look in the mirror and really have to realize maybe you're not the person that you necessarily thought that you were. That's just a result of trauma and life circumstances.
Bieber revealing his spirituality has been key to getting him through the toughest times.
He took a 5-year break from releasing music and came back in 2020 with changes. Although the album wasn't bad, a lot of people view the album as a flop compared to how big Purpose was. Changes compared to Purpose is like night and day. The audiences loved Justin in his Purpose era, that the expectations for his comeback a second time around were pretty high. And then we got this.
You got that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum, that yummy, yum.
What do you think about Justin Bieber?
Oh my god, love him, but Yummy is just like not it. It's not that good.
You don't
It's
like-
not it! Oh my god, it's not it! Oh my god! I'm gonna kill you!
To be honest, Justin isn't slow. Like, there's no way he didn't know that this wasn't a good song. But either way, it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't what the fans were really hoping for. His last album single, What Do You Mean, had the elements that his fans loved. And Yummy it just seemed like a throwaway single that was just used because it sounded kind of catchy. But the album, of course, still did well. He had the singles Forever and Intentions.
Ever, 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 ever. Do you wanna look at me forever, ever, ever? Picture perfect, you don't need no filter. Or just make them drop dead, you a killer.
But this album was important to Justin as he was entering a season of realization and gratefulness for the people that helped and pushed him through the times where he felt like he wasn't gonna make it. It's not a fan favorite album, but it was an important album for him.
Yeah, Allison, you guys have always believed in me. Scooter, you've walked with me through a lot of shit, you know, and I'm so grateful for that. Ryga, you inspire my whole look. Why am I crying over that? It's so dumb.
And Justin was being very vulnerable in an interview about being young in the industry and not feeling like he had genuine connections. Obviously, he was used as a cash cow, but it is interesting knowing he was also signed because L.A. Reid found Justin to be beautiful like a woman. L.A. had said that Justin was very beautiful and that men are rarely seen that way. He said that Justin turned it on as soon as he stepped in the room, which is a pretty interesting revelation for a 13-year-old boy. He was expressing the love he has for Billie Eilish because he wanted to protect her from the industry.
Did you feel protective of her?
Yeah, I definitely feel protective of her. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So, yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, she can count on me, but at the end of the day, I don't want to, never going to force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing, and if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
There's a few articles about Justin where they claim that he spoke about the elites in the industry and how they apparently tried to recruit him. I'm not going to get into it much, but he basically said that there's a difference between being a performer and a mogul. And there's a difference between being a millionaire versus being a billionaire. And in order to get that, he'd have to do things that was against his moral compass on tape. The next year, Justin dropped Justice, which was a well-received album. I do think it's more of a chill era. Justin has grown a lot as a person, and he's not worried about the things that just don't matter to him anymore when it comes to being a star. He spoke about his feelings in the song Lonely.
They criticize the things I did as an idiot kid.
He also had really successful singles with the songs Ghost and Peaches and Cream and Holy.
I got my peaches out in Georgia. Oh yeah, shit. I get my weed from California. Can't be close to you. I settle for the ghost of you. Feel so holy, 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 holy.
Writing songs about Hailey and expressing how he wanted to start a family with her, regardless of the hatred that some of his fans have for her, especially the speculations about the relationship being arranged, set up by the people around them, and she was meant to be his handler. Aside from the rumors, Hailey has been by his side for years now, as his wife. Justin sold his music catalog for $200 million, which is a crazy low amount, but he's following suit of a lot of celebrities that are selling off their life's work for hundreds of millions of dollars. He also split with longtime manager Scooter Braun and started working with Lou Taylor, who we all know is one of the many reasons why Britney Spears' life spiraled out of control. As he continues making plans for a brighter future, he wants to grow more into an individual and build a family.
Everybody can be impatient.
And the big step, and I gotta ask it because there's baby sounds on the record, and it's like really it's cool hearing those. And I wonder kind of where you stand or how you feel about starting a family, and in particular coming from a family that was unorthodox in an environment that wasn't normal, or whatever a normal family is. How you feel about starting your own?
I want to start my own family in due time. I want to enjoy being married for a little bit, go on tour, be married, enjoy traveling with just us, build more of our relationship. And I think, that is definitely the next step for sure.
Sometimes Justin still posts subliminals of him crying and stuff, but I do think he's trying his best to make himself happy in his pursuit of happiness. And as of now, him and Hailey will probably be expecting their first child together. Justin is really an icon, and what he's managed to do as like the first social media celebrity is pretty cool, dealing with the first generation of social media haters and trolls and still managing to become the biggest pop star in the world. His personal struggles are very unfortunate, but I will always commend someone for trying to prevail and finding a light at the end of his tunnel, seeking his own version of happiness. Thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure you share, like, and subscribe. Toodles!